Joker earns a 85% fresh Rotten Tomatoes score. That is the headline on this week's MBE Heroes.
Yeah, John, we're just going to come right in with that headline there. Obviously, early reviews are suggesting, or early scores are suggesting that this film is going to be a hit. According to Screen Rant, that is, the early scores revealing that with only 27 reviews counted so far, Joker is currently got an 85% score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is well into fresh territory. So, what do you make of that? Predictable or what?
I don't think it's...
No.
Well, yeah, it's predictable. Yeah, it is. I expected this movie to be pretty damn good, Stephen. Obviously, you have Martin Scorsese's production company involved. Todd Phillips is a very good director as well. Yeah. All the people on board with the thing. We spoke about this movie way back, Stephen, and we discussed the writers and whatnot. They really did assemble a fantastic team of incredibly talented people. So I'm not surprised to see that it is being rated very highly. I expect that score to perhaps maintain as the ratings come in. If not, I don't know if it can go up, whether the metric can rise as we get more reviews in and the average score perhaps tallies up a little bit higher. If anything, I could see it going higher though than going down. It certainly won't drop below the 75% margin and become a rated rotten movie.
It does say, John, that it has to have at least 80 reviews counted to qualify for that accolade. But
nearly halfway there.
Exactly, and it's when you get 27 reviews in this early stage, and you're getting that percentage, that high percentage, over 75%. There's not going to be a lot of critics, I don't think, are going to pan the film after 27 reviews. As you said, nearly halfway there, so it's good signs early on.
Yeah, Stephen, I'm just reading some of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's very intriguing. We're getting some different viewpoints on this movie. I'll start with, I think it's Time Out. Philip DeSemelin says this is a truly nightmarish vision of late-era capitalism. Arguably the best social horror film since Get Out, and Joaquin Phoenix is magnetic in it. So that sounds exactly like what I got from the trailer, Stephen. It's a social sort of a study, if you like, of what the effects this can have on a person just being this outcast, being alienated with society, being beaten down again and again. He's almost like the living embodiment of this rise in capitalism, or just the capitalistic nature of this world.
Yeah.
He's going out and spinning, he's a sign-spinning clown, and he's also been beaten down literally by the world.
Society,
A victim of society, Stephen. Another one says from The Guardian, obviously from over here, having brazenly plundered the films of Scorsese, Phillips fashions stolen ingredients into something new, so that what began as a gleeful cosplay session turns progressively more dangerous and somehow more relevant too. Again, we got that from the trailer, Stephen.
Yeah.
He's playing a literal clown, if you like. He's not comfortable in his own skin. He's performing on stage, wanting to be accepted by society. You see Robert De Niro's character obviously mocking him.
Yeah.
I think we got a comment on a reaction video, and I think the chap's bang on. He will meet his end on that stage, Robert De Niro.
I think everybody in the audience as well. I think when we did that reaction the other day, John, that was one of the things that came into my head. I didn't mention it at the time because I thought, is it just my weird thoughts? But having time to actually take the trailer and watch it a few times, I think that chap that made that comment on our channel is 100% correct. It's
just the Joker, Stephen, in it as well. He says, what is his name in the movie prior to being Joker?
Arthur Fleck.
Arthur Fleck, he says, can you do me a favour and introduce me as Joker? So that's him turning. Yeah. And then we see Send in the Clowns at the end of the trailer. This is him with his Joker gear on, walking through the curtains into what's going to be, I think, an absolute scene of death and destruction.
One of the things I didn't know, John, I just picked it up in this article, was obviously the running story. Obviously what we see in the trailer is not going to be the sort of over arc of this film.
No.
It is going to be based on the Arthur Fleck's character having some kind of altercation with Thomas Wayne, not Bruce. Obviously Bruce is just a child at this point.
They speculated about that, Stephen. I remember them saying that we could see the Waynes in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of people wondered how they would manufacture that, how it would work.
I naturally assumed they would just be in the background. They would just, just to fit into the sort of feel of Gotham, they'd have to mention possibly, Gordon in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Obviously the Wayne family and some other, well-known names. But directly, obviously having this altercation or whatever it may be with Thomas Wayne is very intriguing to me.
It is, Stephen. The final thing I would add before we probably move on, Stephen, I mean, we can speak about this movie all day long. I haven't not even seen it yet. I could still speak about it all day long. I mean, I could get into the visuals. It's so gritty. It just looks like a perfect recreation of late 70s, maybe early 80s. I want to say New York. Obviously, it's Gotham. Yeah. But it looks like New York, the actual setting. I don't know where they filmed this movie. It could have been anywhere. But it's just perfect.
There's Taxi Driver vibes as well, John.
Yeah, Stephen. Someone said that as well.
Yeah.
Not so positive in their comments, though.
No, but listen, it's one of those ones. We'll have to wait and see. Getting back to the actual early reviews, though, John, and percentage that this has to reach, to receive the accolade, it's going to have to take some damning reviews for that to bring that score down anyway. And I don't think it's going to get that, to be honest with you. I've not seen the film yet, but I have read quite a lot of the reviews that have already come in. Even the not so over the top positive ones have paid compliments to Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal in this film. As you said, obviously the whole feel and atmosphere to this film as well. It's very gritty. So I don't think it's going to take a dip, even with some bad reviews, or not so good reviews, I should say.
No, Stephen, we're seeing a couple of reviews coming in which are noting that it may be a slightly divisive movie, not for everyone. But I think what we're seeing across the board, even in the not so praising reviews, is the absolute, obviously, love of Joaquin Phoenix's performance in this movie. They all seem to agree that this man is simply superb in it. And this tied in with obviously the award season that's released, coming in and around the beginning of the award season. I think we could see this movie, if he is as good as what some of the critics are making out, if not all of them, then I think we could see him perhaps getting his name touted in there for an Oscar, Stephen, nomination. I don't know if he'll win it, because I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen this guy doing roles like this before, and I don't think there's anybody better out there, not many people better anyway, than playing that sort of a alienated, inward sort of an introverted figure who's hampered with, as he says, negative thoughts. All he has is negative thoughts. I don't think you could cast a better actor, and I absolutely expect him to see. I expect to see an Oscar-worthy performance and him getting a nomination.
Well, I was going to get into that as well, John. Just going further ahead. I know we're kind of jumping the gun here, but when it does come to Academy Awards season for Best Actor, I know that you've already named a few that you think may be in there. Obviously. From the Tarantino flick, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio. We'll get Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker, obviously. And although we've not seen it, The Irishman as well, there could be a few contenders from there as well. So it's going to be a very strong category this year, or I should say next year's.
Stephen, once upon a time in Hollywood's intriguing. I don't know who will actually get the nod for lead in that movie. Because it's quite, they both share an enormous amount of screen time. But I expect to see those two somewhere in and around the mix. I probably expect Robert Downey Jr. perhaps may get a little
you can't forget,
push anyway from Disney's side of things. He may get a push for Tony Stark's just ensemble performance across the wider MCU. It's going to be very, very nip and tuck, Stephen. I can't wait to see this movie and The Irishman and see how they perhaps perform alongside Tarantino.
Well, we'll move on anyway, John, to our next article. As you said, we could talk all night about the Joker film, but we will move on. Doctor Strange director shares comic panel about the multiverse and infinity. Again, John, from Screen Rant. I've read this article 3 times now, and I've had to have a wee lie down. That's a little lie down in Scotland. Every time I have read this, because it is a mind F. It really is. But what an intriguing article this is. It really does. Scott Derrickson, the director that is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And this article is certainly madness because it's so complex. And to be fair, John, I think if you'd been following these comics for years and years, I think you would be a qualified brain surgeon by now.
Stephen, I said that.
It's such an intriguing concept, and where they might be going with this as well. Not just obviously Doctor Strange 2, but Phase 4 as a whole. This article, which I don't want to read word for word, John, but I'll let you in. What's your thoughts on this? Because this really does open up a can of worms, but a good can of worms that is, on how your casual fan who watch and enjoy MCU films, especially as we get into Phase 4, may understand the complexity of these multiverses.
Stephen, I just think that the whole concept of this movie is absolutely incredible. First and foremost, Scott Derrickson, a man who has his roots firmly in the horror genre.
Yeah.
He's stepping on board to do this. He's also has his roots firmly in the comics themselves. He's very knowledgeable about the source material, and he seemed very passionate when he was speaking about it at, I believe it was Comic-Con, when they done the big release of Phase 4 at Hall H. He spoke very passionately about delving into this great character. Doctor Strange is one of the, I think, certainly one of the earlier characters from the runs. Yeah. He was incredibly powerful. He's been progressively neutered as it's the years have went on. He's not quite as powerful as he once was. But you see, Stephen, in this comic panel that he's put out, this single panel, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I'm pretty sure it is a panel, but you just see the complexities of the story, and you're absolutely right, Stephen, that's what I says when I read this article as well. It's no wonder that a lot of these original geeks from that period are so intellectually superior to some people who perhaps didn't read the comics. You see it with the likes of Robert Meyer Burnett, incredibly talented guy, so articulate and eloquent, and he's a producer and a writer and whatnot. And there's so many other people out there who probably grew up reading this, and it's opened up things in their brains that other children and maybe teenagers and whatnot weren't getting access to. It's incredibly complicated, speaking about multi-dimensions and wormholes and single swim strokes into different dimensions. It's unbelievable.
We only skimmed the surface in the first Doctor Strange film as well.
And that was incredible. That was like
fantastic.
Inception on steroids, Stephen. So I cannot wait to see this movie, just as a visual masterpiece alone, because we will be going through multiple dimensions and universes. That was the thing that struck me, Stephen, the concept of each individual universe being a single swim stroke apart, and as you go further out, the laws of physics and gravity and whatnot, and just the life in general, changes dramatically to the original Earth. They speak of it being like the Earth swimming in a sea of an infinite sea of alternate Earths. So you have the centre Earth, which is our universe, and as you go further out, you meet crazier and crazier things.
I've got the Beastie Boys Intergalactic on loop in my head now.
Another dimension. Another dimension, yeah. That's what may pop into now, Stephen, in this dimension. But it's just what the doors it opens up. The various different villains we're going to be seeing in there. They speak about one whose name eludes me at the moment, but certainly one of the villains that suggestion could be in this could be Scarlet Witch. We could have an alternate version of the Elizabeth Olsen character coming in and actually being perhaps a minor antagonist. The other one was Dread Dormammu. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Dormammu. And he is a very intriguing looking character indeed. Flaming Head. There was another one, I think it was a nightmarish.
Looks like Ghost Rider, that.
Yeah, it does look like Ghost Rider. But there was another one, Stephen, who is in the dream or the nightmare realm. And there's so many things going on. It's going to be horror based. It's going to be dark, absolutely crazy. As you said, an absolute mind F. The audience will be taking on a ride. And I don't think they could pick a better director than Scott Derrickson to come in and make this. Yeah, the guy's just, he knows the genre, he knows the source material, as I did say without repeating myself. And I cannot wait to see Benedict Cumberbatch coming in. I'm very excited for this movie, Stephen. It's probably my most anticipated movie of Slate 4. I don't know why. Perhaps it's because your man Cumberbatch in the original Doctor Strange he's probably one of my favourite performances and one of my favourite standalone movies. It was just so different to the other MCU standalone stories. He was this arrogant, cocky guy who went through some journey to become what we see him now, and then he evolved and developed throughout Infinity War and Endgame into an even more humble sort of a chap. Can't wait to see what the hell he faces in this.
Yeah, I can't wait, John. But we'll move on now to our next article. This is one of those little articles where some images have dropped for an upcoming film, John. So it's going to be very brief, but it's just saying new Birds of Prey images reveal new looks at Black Mask, Harley Quinn, Black Canary and more. And this was on, I think it's Nano Sosa 2 on Twitter. It's dropped in a few images there in regards to
I can't get them.
Margot Robbie's
I've seen them though, Stephen, I have seen them.
Harley Quinn. We've got Ewan McGregor in there as well. But what do you make of these images, John? Is this it shows you how far in production along we are for this film, Birds of Prey. There's also, I think there's a little teaser in there as well. I don't think we reacted to that, did we? It was only a 20-second.
No, we did react to that. We reacted to the original teaser. I think it was at the beginning of a new year.
Right, okay.
This is a different one though, Stephen. Apparently this is being shown ahead of It Chapter 2 in Ukraine.
Right, okay, yeah.
So it's not over here yet, but obviously when It Chapter 2 releases over here in a few days' time,
we'll be on it.
We will be on it, and it will be there for all of us to consume. In English, or perhaps they will release it as a separate thing over here. I don't know, but it's very intriguing, Stephen. It's following in the footsteps of that original teaser. We just see a myriad of different quick flashes. Yeah, we say quick flashes, Stephen, of obviously Harley Quinn. We see Huntress and whatnot, and I think we even got a shot of, I think it's Victor Zsasz, is that his name? The villain, the guy, the serial killer.
I can't remember.
Who etches things on his body every time he kills someone. And then obviously...
You've got a better memory than me, John.
And Ewan McGregor as well. We had Black Mask. There was a whole variety of different flashes of characters. Very brief. This looks like it's expanding out slightly, but not much more. We're seeing more of a finished, more polished article. Ewan McGregor looks cool as hell, I have to say. He doesn't look like the Black Mask. I've seen him in a search up the character. No Black Mask as of yet, but by all accounts, it's sort of like a comic, more darker comic book take on the Jim Carrey style mask, where he can put this mask on and take it off. And by all accounts, Stephen, when he puts the mask on, it gives him the ability to control other people's minds. So we may see a sort of a, what the hell, I always forget his bloody name, I say Killmonger, Killgrave. Like Jessica Jones, like him on steroids, where he's able to manipulate characters around about. And we've also seen the great David Tennant, as you did say, another Scotsman play that character, so it'll be very intriguing to see the equally talented Ewan McGregor stepping into this. Just the dynamic of him. I think it is Victor Zsasz is the name. He's another antagonist. And just the concept of these this trio of heroic female characters, I think they're going to save or help out the character who would subsequently go on to be Batgirl. I can't recall what her name is at the moment, but that's the plot. They are teamed together to help her out against these two antagonistic figures. But I have to say, Stephen, visually it looks cool. It's almost 80s like.
That was the vibe I got,
zany sort of a colours. There's something about the colour, the palette looks weird.
I think it's...
And she looks weird as well.
Margot Robbie's dungarees in it, John. It's a different look to what we got in the Suicide Squad.
Looks like George Harrison's ill-fated tour for the 1970s, where he was...
dungarees.
Where he was consuming honey and vinegar, and his voice was dying. What a fear!
One of the things, John, that I picked up from it was obviously Robbie's look in this. It's certainly different from that kind of jester look that we got in the Suicide Squad, the first one, and that leads into this film's going to be released. I think it's the 7th of February 2020. So what are we talking? 6 months away or so. So we've not got long to go. It might be longer than that, actually. My math's terrible, but
2020. What?
7th of February. So
it's not far away.
It's not far away now, John.
5 months.
So I would say this trailer coming out will probably be the full trailer. Then am I right in saying that? Yeah. So
perhaps it may.
Where it will lead as well, it'll be very interesting. But that will all depend on its performance, I suppose, in regards to any sequels that might come up. I know I'm going ahead of myself here, John, but also when we think of the Suicide Squad, I'll try and say that this time.
It's a tongue twister.
Which doesn't come out till the following year, August 2021. How much of, or any, will we see of Margot Robbie in that movie?
I don't know if we'll see anything, Stephen. I don't think we've had confirmation whether she is coming back. We did speak previously, I think, that the James Gunn film would be a soft reboot. I think they were saying it would be a soft reboot, then the producer on the movie says it would be a complete reboot. So there's conflicting stories flying around about that movie. I personally would bring Margot Robbie back. I think they then hinted afterwards that Deadshot, that's his name, isn't it? Will Smith?
Yeah.
He isn't actually dead. He's not going to be part of the movie. No. It's not that he's dead, but he's not out the picture. He's still firmly within. He's that character in a sense. He's just not appearing in the movie. Well, so there is scope for them to delve back in.
When we first heard of this, John, with Harley Quinn maybe not appearing it, Deadshot definitely not appearing it. I thought, they're going mad. Those two were the best things in the film. But
do you not like Boomerang, was it?
I didn't like anybody else in it, I've got to be honest with you. Even the villain in it was terrible. But
Cara Delevingne.
Not her, she's
a good actress,
but just the character was terrible, and the sort of climatic end to it, or lack of climatic end. But
it was like 4 blocks worth of action.
It was terrible. It's terrible. But
Jared Leto going off in a spree on a helicopter.
I think with James Gunn saying it's going to be a soft reboot, which it's not, it's going to be a full reboot, it may not be a bad thing. We've got these characters established anyway in the DC, so it's not like they have to go back and regurgitate their roles. They did everything right in that first movie, so they will come back. We know that obviously Harley Quinn's coming back in this Birds of Prey film anyway. Will Smith will be appearing somewhere down the line again anyway. as Deadshot. I can guarantee that. So it may not be a bad thing that they two are not going to appear in that, John. But we'll move on to our next article now, because I'm havering. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp actress Teases Ghosts MCU return now. I kind of skimmed this article because I know what I was looking for, and it was the quote that she said. Hannah John Kamen, that is. She said she quit.
Yeah.
All I can say is that Ghost didn't die. You can base an article around those.
That Ghost didn't
7
die.
words, yeah.
It's a strange phrase, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah. But there is, if you do go down further, John, there is talk of Marvel setting up a new team called the Thunderbolts. So I'll let you in with that, John. What's your thoughts on this? This is obviously a group of reformed villains. Sounds very Suicide Squad to me.
It does sound very Suicide Squad, Stephen. I'll first of all start with the Ghost character.
Yes.
I thought Hannah John Kamen was absolutely superb in Ant-Man and the Wasp. A great villain.
Yeah, tragic villain, yeah.
Very tragic, Stephen.
Yeah.
And it follows that path that the MCU has been following for numerous movies, where they're chucking the sort of a black and white villain.
Yeah.
Some of them underwhelming, and going for that more grey zone, complicated villain, but you can get on board with.
It's only because they've not got Lex Luthor or the
Exactly.
Joker.
Exactly. You can't have absolute.
Can't top that.
No, you can't. The DC are just they own the best characters, Stephen.
Yeah.
Said that time and again. If they could get their fingers out of their arses, they would be on the top. There's no doubt about it. And I think they will. I say and think again every week now. I think they will get their fingers out and progressively get better. It's all cyclical. Marvel will have their day now and then they may dip later on. But Stephen, as I digress, it's following that pattern. They're going for the more grey zone characters, and certainly this character was very complicated. As you says, tragic figure. We slowly fleshed out why she was doing what she was doing. I really connected with the character. I loved the three villains in it. I can't remember the middle villain, who was a sort of a slimy broker who was trying to get his hands on, I think, the PIM technology throughout. And then you had Randall Park, obviously playing the FBI. He was more a thorn in the side, comedic villain. But she was a great character, and I'm glad to see that there's potential for her to come back. She did say that the character's not dead. But Stephen, you're absolutely right about this Thunderbolts thing. That was the thing that perhaps grabbed my attention the most, because there's so much scope with what they can do with that. They say themselves they're a former group of reformed villains, a group of former reformed villains. I'm saying former, I don't know why, it's not even there. But they're obviously made up of Baron Zemo. Daniel Brühl played Zemo in Captain America. They've also got the likes of Hawkeye in the comics come into this group. Deadpool. There's a whole host of different characters come in. I think Frank Grillo could come back as well and play Crossbones. We spoke about him having a multi-picture deal still in place. It's just up to go. Get 5 to go. It's just up to Marvel coming in and activating it. He said Crossbones was dead. Maybe that gets retconned and he comes back. There's so much scope. We can have Ghost in there. We can have, as I mentioned before, Baron Zemo. We can have Crossbones. Everything that's very exciting. And I think they will go down the Disney Plus TV route for that as well, Stephen, and give us a great additional villain show.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what platform you think that would be on.
Sorry about that, Stephen.
I've got to be honest though, John, I've never heard of this band of villains coming together. I don't know if this is maybe somebody can help us out there. We've always said and admitted that we're not the most sort of avid comic book fans. This show is based on obviously television and movie comic books, but anyone maybe want to point us in the right direction with the Thunderbolts, whether or not this is a new thing or not, I'm not sure.
Punisher's in there as well, Stephen. If we could get John Bernthal back in some vein as Frank Castle into Disney Plus, I don't know how that would work with the rights with Netflix, but Jesus Christ, if we could get Frank Castle.
The rights are back with Marvel now.
Luke Cage as well, Stephen. So that could be a great way to perhaps bring in some of these street level characters from the great Netflix shows. Maybe have to recast them. Could be a way to bring in some of the mutants as well, Stephen. There's a couple of mutants, Electras in there as well, I think. So, there's scope there to do some great things. Yeah,
but who knows, John? We'll have to wait and see. But we'll finish up the show with this article coming in. It's James Gunn says Suicide Squad will be music heavy but different to Guardians. What's your take on this, John? Because the title itself kind of explains. Obviously we know anyone that's a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy knows it's more sort of 60s, 70s, 80s rock pop. What do you think you're going to get from James Gunn's The Suicide Squad?
Stephen, I think we're going to get more of what we've seen in the likes of Iron Man, as you says. Obviously he wasn't involved in that, but just music heavy glory. I think it was Iron Man 2, it was AC/DC heavy, or was it the original Iron Man?
I think think there's been
Yeah,
bits
just
all
through, yeah.
but
more Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah.
You're going to get so much music.
One thing I will say about the original Suicide Squad film, John, one of the compliments or the positives from that movie was its soundtrack. That was one of the things that stuck with me. The likes of the Rolling Stones in there, and it was very music heavy. I'm pretty sure James Gunn is a massive music fan. It's very obvious in his films that he's a massive music fan. So
almost Tarantino-esque.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's not as obscure as Tarantino when it comes to his tracks, but he knows a classic.
Yeah, and he knows how to fit it into the story, Stephen, but it just seems to balance beautifully with what we're seeing visually on the screen, and it just complements the characters. I recall vividly going to see the original Guardians of the Galaxy and just laughing my head off at the music. It just beautifully meshed. I can't recall which one it was when Peter Quill flew out of the actual ship. Yeah, he went back to retrieve his Sony Walkman, and then from the guard, and then flew out. And the music was beautiful. Moon Age Daydream with a setting with him and Gamora in front of that beautiful space nebula. That's what we're going to get, Stephen. We're going to get more great moments like that. Just him dropping in absolute classics, as you did say. We got ELO at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It'll drop it in, it'll work beautifully, it'll fit perfectly with the story and the characters, and it'll complement everything we're seeing on the screen. Actually, I love James Gunn as a director, Stephen. I'm glad to see the guy's I don't know if he is the first, but the sort of the first pioneering director who's crossing over between the divide of MCU and also DCEU, or just the DC. We still don't know whether this is
Josh
connected.
Whedon did to an extent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Josh
Whedon.
Whedon.
He picked up from Zack Snyder. But listen, John, that just brings us to the end of this week's MBE Heroes. I would just like to thank you once again for joining us, and we will be back again tomorrow with MBE Movie News.